It doesn't matter what niche you're in, what business you're building. If you're sleeping on email, you are an idiot. That's what my original mentor and now friend Chris Wozakowski has been screaming from the rooftop for years now. I'm so grateful that I listened early, and it is the primary reason that I've managed to make almost $1.5 million in the past 4 years just by sharing ideas I believe in. Chris has managed to go from teacher to building a seven-figure business and his dream life just by sharing simple emails. He's not stuck on social media, he's not writing crap he doesn't enjoy. He's just sharing his ideas and the world loves him for it. As someone who escaped from dentistry, I can resonate with his story, but I'm so sick of banging on about mine that last year for my birthday, I asked Chris if he'd hold a private interview for my customers to share what he's learned from his incredible achievements. It was incredibly inspiring and refreshing to hear his approach to business, and to celebrate starting on YouTube, you can now watch this interview for free. So if you want a way to build your business by sharing ideas that you love, this one is for you. Grab a cup of tea and enjoy. Yo, how are you doing, man?
Doing good. How's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. I just, I haven't had an assistant for a couple of weeks, and every link I send fucks up, man. So I'm just sorting that out now. It's good to see you,
Yep.
though, mate.
Yeah, yeah. And dude, don't feel bad about that. The other day or a couple months ago, I was getting a Google form up and I accidentally sent out a link and that let everyone edit it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, I need help.
I'm
Last
glad I'm not
time
the
doing
only
that.
one. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
about to say. I
yeah.
actually had three interviews today with potential candidates and stuff. So hopefully by the end of the week, I think we'll be back to a bit more smooth running. But how's
Sweet.
uh how's life been for you, mate?
It's good, man. Just busy. I you know, tried to grow the Twitter ad side of things, and I'm happy to report that I had a politician. I'm working on this campaign. He had a primary yesterday and he won, so I was pretty pumped. What's really cool about it is that there's all these groups that do funding for these races, and the opposition spent like $500,000 to try to unseat him, and we spent $2,400 and change on Twitter ads. I mean, I think he did
No
some
way.
direct mail and a few other things, but yeah, he won convincingly, so I was pretty pumped to see that.
Sick, man.
So yeah,
How long have you been doing stuff on the politics side?
this is my first one,
Yeah,
but I want to get more just because it's for X especially, it's like that's where everyone hangs out, for
yeah.
political stuff for the most part. And this is a state senate race, and the opposition had a $500,000 budget, right? So like imagine at the congressional level, the governor level, like there's just so much money, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have to
yeah.
they have to spend it, like it's not like, oh, we'll only scale if it's like, no, it's all got to go. The money's got to
Yeah,
go. It's got to get spent,
yeah.
So
Might as well
versus
give
a
it to
bit,
you, huh?
yeah, versus some business owners that are like, if I don't see a 10x ROAS in 3 days, like I'm firing you. It's like, okay, well, um,
We'll,
but
we'll, um, we'll get into Twitter ads like officially in a bit. We'll just wait, give out 5 minutes for people to come. But
yeah,
how's the carnival snacks going? Good. I love your email marketing, man. Like it's so good.
we survived, live
Yeah,
another
yeah.
day.
So what they got shut down then? Are you what's your role in the company? Are you just writing or are you like involved
Uh,
like, properly?
writing a little bit of strategy here and there.
Cool.
I just operate like as a contractor for them, and always have.
Yeah.
You know, uh, so it's just like when they need projects, like specific projects done. I wrote like random stuff will come up. It's like, oh, we need an ad for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game program. We need like headlines for that. We need some direct mail stuff, the SMS, the
Yeah.
email, the product descriptions. So it's a lot of those kind of things. It's not like a super complex business just
Yeah.
because, like it's many different flavors, but it's like one SKU really, but like with,
Mhm.
15 or 20 different flavors. So it's not necessarily as complex of a machine as some other brands that might have 30 different product categories and 10,000 products and all those kind of things. But it's nice because it lets me just go super deep with the writing.
I was gonna
And
say, like
yeah,
your
like we
messaging is just spot on, man.
Dude, and Mark lets me write whatever I want. And there's stuff that like I'll put in and I'll be like, ah, he's not gonna let me run this. And then I'll be like, cool, approved. I'm like, all right. And it does really well, like he just gives me complete creative freedom. But that's why people love it, because we're not like other brands the way we
Yeah.
communicate. And that's why people love the emails. And that's why when they did get shut down, why we were able to post $700,000 in revenue with the pre-order with 3 emails and 3 SMS messages. And we probably could have hit 1 million, but Mark was like, hey, we need to pull back on the throttle, not send anymore, because if we do, the logistics of like compressing that many orders with their reduced staff, that, because they had to let everyone go, they said it would have been a nightmare. So they got to kind of like slowly get it back up.
I was going to say, most people, when they get shut down, they sell less, mate, not 700K. But for people that don't know, so Chris, obviously we're going to formally introduce him in a few minutes, but he does some writing for a company called Carnival Snacks. If you check out his Twitter, there's a few kind of excerpts, and it's just brilliant. Like I look at it and I'm like, this is how you be polarizing. And it could just so tell it to you as well. Like, you must have such a fun time writing it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's why I just love work with them. And I started with them back in like 2019 or 2020. I can't remember the exact, it was around there, and they were pre-revenue. So I got to get in at the beginning and kind of like craft the voice. And I knew I wanted to be different, and I wanted to be fun, and I wanted to be unique. And, you know, sometimes online brands are just like buttoned up, that it's like, and they're like, oh, I have a retention problem if my customers don't come back and buy. I'm like, well, yeah, your product, most products, let's say 98% of products, can be found somewhere else cheaper and more conveniently. So it's like, the only reason someone's going to come back is because they like you and they like your brand. So like, if you don't have that brand element, like, yeah, you're going to have retention problems. So you're going to have repeat order problems, because then people are just should be buying on price at that point, right? So if you don't want them to buy on price, you have to give them another reason to want to buy and stick around.
And this applies to kind of our space as well, in the personal brand info product stuff.
Even more so, because, like, again, you're not the only person teaching what you do or doing, the services that you do. And I'm a big fan of the show Mad Men. And there's this one quote, like Roger's yelling at Pete, and he's like, half of this business comes down to, I don't like that guy. And so like the other half of that is like, I do like that guy. And that's like, you're not going to be the only agency. You're not going to be the only person selling a course. Like, you sell course on writing, I sell course on writing. There's 100 other people who do. It's like, it doesn't mean that you can't thrive. It just means that like your voice has to be a bit unique. And the way that you do that is just by being yourself. Because if you're just yourself all the time, the right people are going to stay and become attracted to you. And then the wrong people are going to leave. It's like a filtering mechanism. And that's what I found, like, over the years that, publishing since, excuse me, 2016. Not everyone likes me. A lot of people don't like me. I had a client one time who I guess he mentioned one of his like paid groups. He's like, oh yeah, Chris Wojciechowski's working on the new sales page. And this guy was like, if that guy's involved with the project, I'm not buying. I don't want any part of it. And I was like, I don't even know who the guy was. I don't know what I did to this dude, but he was like, fuck that guy, and I was like, okay. But it still did very well. But that's the thing. It's like, you're always gonna have people who don't like you, and that's okay. What I tell people is, like, posting anything online, like, everyone's like, what do people laugh at me? And I'm like, people are already laughing at you. And you're for any number of reasons, people that you knew from high school or college, or people that you used to work with, they're already laughing at you. They're already talking shit about you behind your back. So like, now that you know that, and you've accepted this fact into your life, that it's already happening, your worst fear is already happening right now, and you have no idea and you have no control over it. Just post, you know what I mean? Because like, okay, they're still laughing at you. Okay, at least you can be rich. Yeah. And then, you're in the same boat otherwise, right? Like that's always been my mentality.
Well, God, there's so many roads I want to go down with you, mate. Let me just introduce you. Starting on the big, this is Chris. People don't like him. But if you don't know Chris, by the way, I'm season 2 Mad Men on your recommendation, and it is fantastic. Awesome. It's just so fun when the copyright and chat as well. Like, it's just so good. Chris, this is a really special one for me, because Chris is actually one of the first courses that I bought 3 years ago now. I remember finding you on the Copyright Club podcast, and I was like, this guy knows what's up, because you had a cool story. You've gone from teacher to 7-figure email copywriter. And the reason why I was really excited to get Chris on, and we've already kind of dived into it, because the man has style. The guy, like, it's just got such a good writing vibe to him, brilliant attitude around how we should actually be selling our stuff. And today we've got 50 minutes or so. We're going to be diving into it. So thank you, Chris, the John Draper of email copywriting, according to Kevin Rogers.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's very high praise. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to hopefully teach you guys some cool stuff. So
Say maybe not on the hairline though.
yeah, no, no. Yeah.
Well, look, actually, man, let's go back to what we were just chatting about then. It's funny because I was just reading Mark Manson's models for some reason. And, the whole start is basically about how you must be polarizing in that if people aren't hating you, that's a very good sign that you're not going to be like finding, well, in this case, obviously it's women, but it applies everywhere. I was reading it and I was like, holy shit, man, no one hates me online. I'm obviously not cranking my like beliefs on. Now, you're maybe, well, maybe it's a false belief actually. I don't think you're naturally polarizing or you're quite comfortable being polarizing. What if you're like me and then like you're generally just a nice guy? What's your advice?
Well, I mean, there's definitely people who hate you, for any number of
True.
reasons.
Actually,
And
I've
again,
got
it's not because you're not a bad guy. Like but they might hate you. They might just like, they might be like, oh, fuck this guy and his success. You know what I mean? And like, so there's ways you might just naturally polarize people without even trying, right? And I don't think like this is just me. Like I'm just kind of like I like to have fun. I like to shit post. I like to make jokes. I definitely have a unique style and flavor. I've always been this way. And, like I don't know. I think everyone has just a unique personality, and like the more that you let it out, it will just naturally be polarizing. So like it's not something you really have to try to do. Um, like there's a good example. There's this guy, they do a lot of memes about him on X. This guy, Jason Calacanakis, or whatever the hell his name is. He's on that big podcast, the investing podcast, All
yeah,
In or
yeah.
something. And people are always making fun of that guy because I guess he always slips in the fact that like every time he talks, he like mentions that he's, was an early investor in Uber. And it's almost like become a meme because he's repeated it so much. So like is that guy a bad guy? Like, I don't know, I don't listen, but like, I've seen him on Twitter. Like, I don't follow him enough to like make a determination either way. But like, that's an example of like, there's people who don't like that guy because he's just harping on this one thing, So I think as long as you're just more of yourself and you let yourself shine through, like you'll
Yeah.
start to naturally generate it. But like, what I tell people is like, don't put on an act. Like, if it's not you, you don't have to go out and be, this big brash personality. I mean, you can, like, sometimes people use the internet to kind of amplify pieces of the personality. I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, really, as long as it's rooted in truth. But just from a sustainability standpoint, it's like it's easier and more sustainable over the long term to just continue to be yourself rather than to try to be someone you're not. Now, that doesn't mean that you should, like, if you have this ideal version of who you want to be in life and business as you walk down this journey, that you don't move in that direction. Like if you're like naturally introverted, but you like Dan Kennedy is a great example. Like Dan Kennedy had a stutter when he was young. And then he became one of like the most successful speakers, not the biggest name speaker necessarily. Like he wasn't as big as like former professional NFL players, but like he would go in and outsell these guys on the stage. And this is a guy who stuttered throughout his childhoods, right? So like you can move towards and improve yourself and work on developing yourself in certain ways and move towards this ideal vision for your life. But it's like you're not like LARPing, you're just
Yeah.
developing, you know what I mean? So I hope that's making sense. It makes sense in my
No,
head.
it
I'm
does.
hoping
Yeah.
like
No, perfect. I mean, I've always kind of seen it as bringing the audience along for the ride
Mhm.
because I was never that like confident when I was writing before, but I think now, I mean, I've been banging away for 3 years. You start to find certain angles that you're like, actually, I feel a bit strong about this. For example, I have 4 meetings this month and I am angry. And like, I'm like, that's a pretty interesting point. How you have no calls and like these little things kind of emerge over time. And that's what I've been writing about. And I'm seeing a much better uptake in response. So it does make sense, mate. Yeah, one thing I like about you, dude, is you've basically been selling for 10 years now, right? So
Mhm.
people say like overnight transformation stuff, but I love how we started wrestling and then you started to sell a wrestling course and then it's been like a series of things from there. Do you want to give us a quick TLDR for people that haven't listened to everything you've done?
Yeah, so like it's funny. I was on a walk this morning. I was thinking about this. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I was a wrestler, wrestled Division One at Rutgers. Yeah, but like beyond that, I was like, I don't really. I always said like I don't want to do anything. Like I don't really want to work. I don't want. I mean, like I want to make what I knew. I would like joke around in high school, like when I talk about this to my friends, and I'd be like, I just want to make a lot of money and do a whole lot of nothing. And there is actually a word for that. It's being a successful entrepreneur or being a successful investor, because those are the two ways to actually make that happen.
Yeah.
So I didn't really connect those dots until later on, but I said, okay, I'll wrestle. And I went to college, and it was like, okay, freshman year, I don't have to figure out my major right away, take like the regular courses. And then sophomore year, and I was like, I don't know. And then I switched majors again. And then I was like, I kind of got halfway through, and I was like, well, I guess I want to just coach wrestling because it's fun. I like it. So maybe I'll just do that, and I'll just teach, and I'll coach, every winter, and maybe a wrestling club on the side or something. So I got a degree, spent 5 years undergrad, then I got a master's degree. I was doing like the Van Wilder plan. And then I finally got out. I started teaching, got a job, came home day one. I was like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. This was a huge mistake. And but here I was. It's like, all right, well, this is your job. And now like you're an adult and you got, responsibilities and shit. So I had this mentor of mine. His name was Zach Evanesh, and he was one of these guys. I discovered him in like 2003. Like I was in like eighth grade. And I was following like Matt Fury and like Russell Brunson before he was like an internet marketer dude, and Dax Moy and all these other people who were like, you know, having email lists and having online programs. And like, so I grew up following Zach. I eventually trained at his gym and then went to work for him as a strength coach. And I would always notice he was like selling these ebooks and this like internet business. And I was like, how the fuck how do you make money on the internet? Right. Like I know people do this, but I was like, I don't
Yeah.
really understand what this is or like how this works. I said, I bet if I took some time, I could figure it out. So my initial foray was like, let me just figure out how to make money with the internet. So I started like blogging, I tried a few strength conditioning blogs. I don't know what I was doing. I was using like Weebly. This was like this is ancient internet lore by now. Now,
People are
so I
Googling what Weebly is.
yeah, they're like, what the hell is a Weebly? Like, it sucks. It was terrible. It was a terrible blog platform. Um, then I started this wrestling coaching website, and I was like, well, I like coaching wrestling, and I started building an email list. And this was before I even like knew what copywriting was, but I started like writing emails and selling affiliate offers. And like, I made a little bit of money. I didn't make much. I was working like 6 hours a day because kids these days, they don't know how easy they have it. Like to do, like I was doing this WordPress blog using Optimized Press. I mean, there's another throwback term software. It was like tough back then. Everything to export a video, there was no Loom. There was no Loom
Mhm.
video. Do you understand, if you use Camtasia, it used to take an hour to export like a 30-minute video, and then you had to upload to YouTube, which took another hour. It was a nightmare. Anyway, so I was doing this stuff, and then eventually I discovered, like through my reading, like there was this thing called, I was like, I'm not really making enough money to keep justifying 6-7 hours a day working on this. And maybe it could have become a thing, but I talked to Ryan Lee, and he was like, are there other people in the wrestling coaching niche who make any money? I said no. And there was like one guy who made like decent money, but I was like, there's like one guy, he's kind of like his friend of mine, he's kind of doing something similar. He's a little more established. He was the national champ. And he's like, if there's not really people making money in your niche, like it's probably not going to go anywhere. He's like, try to sell some coaching to your email list of 400 people, put it out, crickets. They would buy some of the affiliate stuff, but like nothing else. So okay, this is the wrong vehicle for me. I
Mhm.
said, of all of this stuff that I'm doing, what's the thing that I like the most? And I love the writing the most. And then I heard about these people called copywriters who would just hand clients a Google document with a few thousand words, and they might get paid $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 or more. And I was like, I could do that. I was like, I do that every day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not getting paid for it. So
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I don't have any clients. But I bet that's something I could learn. Right. And like, I bet if I just keep at it, like what I've realized in life is like on a long enough timeline, if you just stay at it, you can usually win in most things. Right.
100%.
Like I'm not going to play, in the NBA. I'm not, I'm only 6 feet tall. Right. Like, and I suck and I don't know how to play basketball. So like on that timeline, but like, those
Yeah.
extreme examples, obviously, right? But like on most, like business wise, like business is a fairly level playing field. Like you could start at nothing and build anything you want.
Yeah.
Um, so what I realized was like on a long enough timeline, I could win in this game. So I just started figuring out, started getting clients, taking jobs for $100, $50, $200. I wrote like a 20-page sales over $200. And, like I was just doing the shit. And eventually I started just leveling up, trading up in terms of like clients and deal size and everything. And I got to the point where I was making just about as much money on the side writing copy as I was at my day job. And I was stayed in my day job for like 4 years. Well, I was at one school for 2 years and I left and went to the district for the last 2 years, coaching wrestling on the side, building everything up. And then I said to myself, they were going to non-renew me, which it's kind of like the nice way of saying like, hey, you're not going to work here anymore. And the reason that they gave me, they're like, we feel like your heart's not in it. And they were absolutely right. I just
Yeah.
didn't realize I was making it that obvious because like
Yeah.
I'd get there, I'd sign in. Like everyone would like hang around the office and like schmooze with the principal. I didn't do any of that shit. I didn't go to
Yeah,
the
dude.
staff.
I
They were
had the
like,
same vibe.
you didn't go to the staff volleyball game. I'm like, I was coaching wrestling at the other school because you guys wouldn't let me coach here. They're like, well, you don't come to the happy hours. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm running the fucking business. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You want to though, don't you?
Yeah, you know who the fuck I am. So it was fairly obvious. So I talked to my wife and I was like, hey, for over a year now, I've been making, multiple thousands of dollars a month, and I'm doing that in my worst 40 hours.
Mhm.
Imagine what I could do if I had my best 40 hours dedicated to this, right?
Mhm.
So instead of working from 4 to 10 every night, and I mean every night, I would say hello to my wife, work for 2 hours, come down for dinner, say goodbye again, go upstairs, back up to the office, work till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. I worked on the weekends. I would work on Friday nights sometimes. I would work on Sundays. I worked every single day of the week. I would wake up early. I would take calls. I had a client in Lithuania. I was taking calls at 5 o'clock in the morning to meet their time zone. I was in my car in the winter talking with clients on the phone, scheduling calls. Hey, 12:45 p.m. because my lunch break started at 12:43. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like like every minute that I had was dedicated to this.
Well,
And
just to pause you there for a sec, man. The reason why you have been consistently one of my favorite people is because when I first started writing as a dentist, I was doing 6 days a week, and you told the exact same story. A, persistence, and B, timing. And it was just like that dogged persistence. And so I also, that's when my hairline started to retreat too. But like
Mhm,
it was every morning, every evening, every weekend, no TV for a year, just because I remember you saying, man, it was like, look, like, you're not gonna get to the best, but like something's gonna happen. And I do think that people, I don't know, it's like hate for hustle, man, but like sometimes there's no excuse except hard work, I think. And so thank you for that. Anyway, I interrupted. Carry on.
yeah, no, it really is like, and I wish it wasn't the case. And like there's always outlier cases, like
Yeah.
someone starts and in 6 months they just get lucky and hit the right moves. But like those are it's kind of like a little bit of survivorship bias when you hear those stories, right? And
Mhm.
like it didn't happen to me. Does it happen to some people? Sure, but I'm not that person, right? So
So what
I'm
time
not
frame are we on here from wrestling to
so
quitting?
this is probably like 2017 is when I left my day job. June 16,
Okay,
2017
3 years.
was my last. Yeah. So like that, they told me they were going to like non-renew me unless I like, picked it up. And so
Yeah.
I went in like 2 weeks later and I said, hey, I'm resigning.
Mhm.
Like, you can't fire
Sick.
me. I'm firing you, like, so I said, I'll stay on to the end of the year, but after that, I'm not coming back. And they're like, well, what are you gonna do? And I told them, and the thing that like always killed me, that like just it was like it like hurt a little bit emotionally, but it also motivated the shit out of me. Was like people were like, hey, if it doesn't work out, you could always come back. I said, fuck
Yeah.
you, I'm never coming back.
Yeah. I
I
said
will
that.
do anything. I will never step foot back in this classroom. Like I'm done. I'm out, and
Yeah.
I've escaped the bucket of crabs. I ain't going back in, right? So it was like motivation. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
said, if
Because
God
people don't
forbid
know what
everything.
it's like online either, right? It's like, why would I ever come back when there's a million things I'd rather fail at before I go back to the day job?
Yeah, it's and like there's nothing wrong with having a day job, and there's
No.
nothing even like there's not wrong with it. It's just like I just didn't want to like there was this one moment where like when you're a teacher, they have this thing called like a salary step guide, and it's because it's all based on like how many years you've been in, right? So like I looked at this piece of paper and it was 40 steps, right? And most people don't work more than 40 years. Some people retire before him, but I was like, here's every dollar I'm ever going to make in my life. It's right here on the sheet of paper right here. And I was like, do I like that
No
number? Am I
leverage.
okay
Yeah.
with that number? Yeah. So I was like, it's not a bad life, maybe, but like, is that what I want this life to be? My only one shot at this life. Do I want that to be it? I said, nah, fuck that. So anyway, I quit. I started, I had some retainer. I had NeuroGym I've been working with for, it was like 16 months at that point. I've been working with them, so like I was like, I don't know, I don't think it's going away. They've been leading out their marketing staff, so I'm the guy who's doing everything. I don't think they're going to get rid of me, so I just kept working with them. Then I had more time worked on other clients, and again, kept working hard. It wasn't like 3 hour days after that, like, but it was 8 to 10 hour days of like my best time, and then I had my evenings back and my weekends back. So it takes work, it takes time. I wish there was an easier way. I mean, the technology has made certain things easier, sending a video, sending emails, getting a website up, like those, so it's less time on those things, but now there's more competition because there's fewer barriers to entry. So the game always changes, it always shifts, it always evolves, but change is the only constant, right? So you just got to stay lean and stay agile and just move fast.
I was gonna say, like, it's a common thing in the people that I help that they're like, oh, we screwed up on timing. We should have been there 10 years ago. And I'm like, do you have no? And sure, it would be nice if we were there 10 years ago, but like, for example, I've just spent 3 weeks systemizing my business, and that probably would have took 6 months. Like the amount of softwares are just pulled together and like all these SOPs and stuff. And it's like there are a lot of advantages for writers at the moment that people don't appreciate. But I mean, you've obviously had your head in the space for a while. Like, what do you see has changed a lot? And I was going to kind of, as a leading question, I'll say what hasn't changed, but we know what we're going to say about email. So let's go for what's changed a lot.
Yeah, I mean, what's changed over the last 10 years, like the first, 7 years or so, we were kind of like in that ZERP phenomenon, zero interest rate phenomenon, where like it was like everything was a little bit easier because there was so much money just flowing everywhere. Like
Mhm.
if you look at the run up, like I started in 2013. So like if you look at like where rates were, where the like how the market grew, like the macroeconomic environment, right? Where like the businesses that were getting funded that should have never gotten funded, the acquisitions that happened, the free debt that people could get to launch ventures and things like that. Like what's happening now is that it's compressed, significantly. And again, like it's not the most important factor. There's obviously always businesses that are, blowing up and, screaming amounts of growth at any given time in different industries, different offers, things like that. But it's got a lot harder because what's happened is the number of opportunities, which I believe is a cyclical thing, as it always, because everything moves in cycles, right? But
Mhm.
like, when you're talking about 2016 or 25, let's say 2015, right? And you got businesses that are getting clicks on Facebook for a penny, for 2 pennies, for five, for a nickel, for a dime, right? And like, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, right? Like there's so
Yeah,
many people
yeah.
who are famous now. There are people right now who they're a big time name or big time guru. The only reason why is because they caught the Facebook arbitrage at the right point. Doesn't mean
Mhm.
that they're not smart or that they can be, but like there's people who built enormous followings, and not that they're coasting now, but like that up leveled them. So like there's always this
Escape
arbitrage.
velocity, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you look at 18 months ago, 2 years ago, you look at the Twitter algorithm, like, or X algorithm, like my, growth has definitely slowed down, but like I'm not like super concerned about it because I'm still getting leads that I need. I'm still getting the right kind of followers. So like I don't need 100 followers a day if I get this CEO and that CEO and this
Yeah,
investor and this, like I don't care if I'll take one or two of those a day over 100 random people, right?
yeah.
So it's relevancy and it's context and it's quality always. But like my account, like I started like just over like January 2021, I went back on Twitter. Or sorry, January 2022. Yeah, I went back on Twitter after like a multi-year hiatus. So I started from scratch with zero, right? And
Yeah.
I was able to get to like now 10.4 thousand subscribers. So it's not the biggest audience in the world, but like I caught the tail end of that arbitrage, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just finding what the arbitrage is. So anyway, to just connect the dots here, like what's changed, the marketplace shifts always. There's always a new platform, there's always new arbitrage, there's up cycles, down cycles. But part of it is just being fluid. And like if you have a core set of skills that you could apply to different domains, then you're going to be good. You know what I mean? So I think in general, certain industries are shrinking, but like if you're in the AI industry, like building AI tech like that, there's tons of money flowing in there. So
Yeah.
tons of companies being exposed. So like there's always, it's just being lean, being agile and say, where could I have this basket of skills? Where can I apply these skills for the highest impact? Like not doing a wrestling blog, but doing copywriting, right?
Yeah.
When everyone's pouring money into acquisition. That was a good move on my part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If I stayed with the wrestling blog, maybe it would have become something, but it might have just been the wrong vehicle and the wrong arbitrage at that given time.
And you think, I mean, I've always not in like a certain smugness, but I know that if I lost everything tomorrow, I would be straight on to email copywriting for people, because I do feel like, I mean, right, the ability to write emails and sell things is a pretty anti-fragile skill. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, you're still seeing like great results for you, your friends in email copywriting?
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many companies out there that just don't know what they're doing. Like, still,
Yeah.
like you think like at a certain point, like everyone figured out, but like here's the thing, like with companies, like I'm working with a client right now. He's a great dude. He's built a great brand, doing very little marketing. He's like 2.2 million a year right now, and has not done a ton of, he's done some organic content. And he's really solid in that domain, but hasn't really done a ton of email. Hasn't like just started ads in the past like month or so.
Mhm.
So I think he could blow up, but like when you think about like a person like that, it's like, well, they're really good at this product. They're really good at maybe one skill or two skills with the organic or a different side, or they have joint ventures, partners, or whatever, some other ace in the hole that's helped them get there. But it's like, where are they not rounded out? And most people who are business owners or founders, like they're not email marketers. So like they understand the role and the importance, but like depending on what their acquisition system is or how the business runs, like they might have been able to survive without it. And those are the best kind of clients. It's like
Yeah.
clients like, oh, you're already making $5-10 million a year and your emails suck. Like, great, awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to find the client who's like, they're a shark at email already and they're making $200,000 a year because like, what are you going to charge them? Like it's so there's still a lot of companies who it's just not a core competency. They need the help and they need to outsource. They can hire a team member, hire an agency, or hire a freelancer, and those are the only three
Yeah.
options, or do it themselves. Excuse me,
It,
which they're not going to do.
it blows my mind, even though I've been on this side of it, like how many people fuck that up. Because I remember when I first started trying to find clients, I spent so much time into people that could already kind of write, that had already got stuff set up. And it's like, there are just so many people that don't have the time to learn what you know. And like, for example, some guy just quoted me 2 grand to set up tracking. And I was just like, look, so long as I can click one button and in 10 days, I get everything, I'm fine. And that's the sort of people you want with the writing side as well, right? Sort of people with money. It's so simple, yet so many people overlook that step.
Yeah, you got to find people with money. It's like there's people like, oh, what about like this local business? I'm like, no, like don't do it. Don't do it. Like the hair salon is not like, could they benefit from me in marketing? Of course, but like, what is the leverage multiple of the work that you're going to do for them? Like, what do
Mhm.
are you going to jump from a $400,000 a year business to a $4 million a year business? But no, they have three chairs. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to happen, right? But if it's an online business where they live and die on email, then like, yeah, and they have a high level of scalability. It doesn't mean that like there might be certain brick and mortars, but like it's just finding like who are the people who need this the most, who have the money, who don't have it as a core competency and have a bleeding neck problem that they understand the value of it. So you nail all those things, you're good to go. Usually if you have trouble getting clients because you haven't found a market where all those conditions are met, right?
Yeah.
So and here there's like arguments to be made. Like sometimes like if someone has decent email marketing, it means they'll probably, if it's a founder of a multi-million-dollar corporation, like they're probably not doing it themselves. It's about maybe a team member, maybe an agency. The good news there is that they are proven to spend money on this thing. So
Mhm.
they are a buyer of this type of thing already, which is a good data point. The converse of that is like finding someone who doesn't do a good job at all. There's opportunity and you might be the only person they know, but then the flip side of that is you have to then convince them of the value of it, right? So
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that one is necessarily better than the other always, depending on your skill set, your
Yeah.
positioning. Like if someone reaches out to me and like, hey, someone said I need help with email, I agree with them, they said you're the best, tell me what I need to do.
Mhm.
Close, instant close, right? But like also like they could read my books, they could read my newsletters, they could get on my list, they could see the work that I've done. I have that
Yeah.
positioning. And again, that's all stuff that I've just built over time, which anyone else can do. Like there's no, you could copy
Well,
it.
well, well, this is it, man. Like, Email Rainmaker was one of your books, right? And
Make it
Email
make it
Rain,
rain.
Make It Rain. That was it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, just there were just so many assets that when I entered your world, and then obviously I got ECA and stuff, and it's like this authority wasn't by accident. The
Mhm.
fact that you can call yourself the email copywriter, it's not by accident. And like, again, it's one of these things where like brand is just repetition and persistence, right? With obviously a little bit of arbitrage and positioning, but um, I was going to ask you there, mate, on a scale of 1 to 10, honest opinion, how much of an idiot am I for sending one email a week?
No, I don't think you're an idiot.
You can be
here's the
polite,
thing.
mate.
No, you're not though. And here's the thing. Like, I'm a big daily email guy. I've been emailing daily since probably. I've been emailing since 2016. I probably started emailing daily towards the tail end of that year, maybe beginning of 2017. I can't remember the exact date. Um, and emailing daily is definitely good. And as a general rule of thumb, it's a good idea to send more emails in general, always,
Yeah,
whether it's more automations, longer automations, more broadcasts. But here's the thing, like, it depends on the business model too. Like, I have my expertising newsletter, which I send one email a week, and I might move to 2 emails a week. And like, would it be better if I did daily emails? Probably. But at the same time, it's like, well, is my ideal client do they sign up for weekly newsletters, and do they prefer that kind of communication? Like, in that case, maybe it does make sense, right? Um, Another thing too is like, you could write one email a week and then just turn it into an automation. Like my expertising newsletter, I'm doing that right now. It's like, okay,
yeah,
well, I have 13 or 14 issues published, and now I'm just going to build a 14 or 13, 14 email welcome sequence. So someone new, well, they'll get the one email a week, but they'll also get all the old editions. So
yeah,
I'll gain the benefit of having the daily email without having to manually wake up. There's days when I hate waking up and writing an email. Like, I just fucking hate it. And I'm like, I don't want to do this, and I feel like I'm forced to keep the business working, and it becomes like prison that you built yourself.
yeah,
You've entombed yourself now in this sarcophagus that you have to reside in. And there's days when I hate it, but then there's other days when like you write it, and then all of a sudden, like, $1,000 come in, and you're like, hell yeah, like I don't gotta do
yeah,
shit today, because so like, what I've learned is that there's pros and cons to everything. Sustainability is important, energy is important, relevancy is important, and like there's days when I wake up and I'm like, oh well, I've committed to this daily email, but what if whatever I'm going to write is going to be shit?
mhm,
Then like, maybe it's okay to just skip one, or maybe it's okay, like, if I look and say, well, really, like, I have 1 or 2 emails every week that really pop, that light people up, so like, would it be the end of the world if I only did that one? Like, there's a lot of considerations here, and I've changed
yeah,
my opinion, and I still think you'll always make more money with daily email, but there's ways to do that. Like, you could also take your best emails for specific products. Like, what I've started doing is like,
yeah,
I'll take, like, I've written 250 emails at least for ECA. So I took the top 50 of them that have the most storytelling and content and teach the most and do a good job demonstrating. And I made a 50 email automation. So like, if people click the link and then they don't buy, then they get into this automation that drips out the best stuff over time. So I'm getting the benefit of daily email without having to necessarily write in the daily email for that. So
yeah,
there's a lot of different ways to kind of skin this cat. I think it's okay to get started weekly.
mm,
And you could stay weekly, because if it's really solid, and really the thing that sells is the proof, right?
yeah,
Like Ben Savenga talks about this. It's not the size of the promise, it's the size of the proof, right? So like, if Warren Buffett had a newsletter about investing, which he's not going to do, but let's say he did, right? Okay.
it's shareholder report kind of is, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, right. So like, people read that. Like, he could send
Yeah,
one out a year and then fill a stadium full of people who want to come see him speak. Like, he doesn't need to put out a shit ton of content, right? And part of
yeah,
that is the legend, it's time in the game, earned media that he's, books that have been written about him. So there's a lot of different roads to conversion, right?
yeah.
And email is definitely a good one. It might be blasphemous for me to say, but like, I like daily email. I think it's good. I think it's good practice, and I've done it for so long. I continue to still do it. But I also have other projects where I do one email a week, and those work fine too. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that
I'm
drawback thing
torn.
is a good point. I mean, I'm very grateful that I took ECA, because whilst I only send one email a week, I send a million emails a month, because there
Mhm.
are so many automations going on, and like it's quite cool when that leverage builds up. Like I went to write I just done my new welcome sequence, which is 13 emails, getting ready for my X ads, working with somebody
Mhm.
somebody special. And I was like, why the hell are you trying to write this, man? You've got 50 emails lying around, go find the best. And then it was done in
Mhm.
like 3 days. Um, so it just kind of leads me to question about growth, mate. So a lot of us have been relying on social media for growth, and everyone knows how much that hurts now. Two questions of it. You at one point, we both started spending money on Sparkloop, and I remember looking at your thing, and I was like, "This dude is splashing the cash." This is a year on. What was the return? And talk to me about this growth. How are you growing your list?
I haven't sat down and actually calculated the return.
Okay,
I probably
because you
could.
bought like 10,000 subs, didn't you? Or so.
Well, I think I broke the machine. Like, so what
Yeah.
happened was like, I think I helped them like catch a bug with the machine, like, no joke, because I set it up and I said, I'm gonna do $7 a lead, because the
Yeah.
highest lead was like $5 a lead, and the
Mhm.
person was only spending like $250 or $200 a month max.
Mhm.
So they would get 40 subscribers or something. And I said, fuck it, I'll put it at $7 a lead and I'll be the highest in the entire system. I said, what's going to happen? But I put very specific conditions, and they've changed a lot of this. So like
Mhm.
what I'm going to tell you now is probably not going to work because over the years they've like updated it. But I said at $7 a lead, I said, I'll pay, $2,500 a month total, like in the kitty or whatever. Right. So people just, what happened was this guy Zane Khan, I think is his name, he had this AI
Yeah.
newsletter, and he
Yeah.
published this thread that got like 6 million views, and I was an upscribe widget on his thing. So like it was like literally like the most perfect timing in the history of the universe. Like you, I don't know if, like you could replicate some of this, but not all of it, right? But like that guy plugged me right as his thread went viral, and he probably got hundreds of thousands of people from that. So I got like 14,000 subs in 14 days, give or take, maybe 13
Wow.
days. Like it was nuts. So my list jumped from like 7,000 like 21 or 22,000. And I was like, holy shit. And what's crazy about it was I had parameters set where it's like they have to be from the US and they have to stay on my list for 30 days
Yeah.
before I consider it. So like a lot of those people were not US based, so I didn't pay for any of those people. A lot of those people, not everyone stayed on for 30 days. There might have been one other stipulation that I had in place. I can't remember exactly. I definitely got some buyers from it. Again, like I just haven't sat down and calculated like the people in that segment, looking up in Thrivecart and seeing the
Yeah.
products. I just haven't done that yet. But I mean, I didn't spend a ton, like I didn't
Yeah.
even spend the full budget just because, I only paid for US people. And then if I saw that people were, they read they get 15 emails, they haven't opened one of them, I just delete them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So has it been good? I mean, yeah, I think so in general. Definitely got me some buyers. It's just tough though, because what you like having a weekly newsletter is actually an advantage for something like Sparkloop versus my
Yeah.
daily newsletter, which people are like, who the fuck is Chris Rosakowski? Or if it's like, VC investing 101, it's like, oh, cool. I'd like to learn about this topic. I'm going to sign up for this newsletter. If it's
Yeah.
just some bald guy saying like, I'm going to send you an email every day, they're like, why would I want that? Like without the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
context,
Yeah.
then it's not as good. So like, it just depends. Like, what's your newsletter is called high impact writing, high impact writing.
Well, that's the cause. So it's actually just called Kieran Drew, mate. Kind of similar to
I
you.
thought there was what's the headline on it?
I think it really does say just join my newsletter now.
Wow, it
Um,
did. Okay, I
I
thought you
used
had
to
like
have a
a name
name,
for it.
dude, but like I didn't like it because I didn't like feeling boxed in. I was like, this is the
Okay,
shit I'm gonna write about. Um,
so I'm
so
not. You did though. I'm not crazy. So okay,
no, no, yeah. So I had one called Digital Freedom for a while, and there was a few other cringe names. But I just every 6 months I was cringing like hell, and I was like, well, let's just stop because you're never gonna get the one that you love in 6 months. So
yeah,
Kieran Drew is the list. So
okay. But yeah, but
but
like even
what?
something like that where it's like a concept,
Yeah,
like I personally feel for something like a Spark Loop where it's like you have
yeah,
a title and a subhead
yeah,
where people need to get it fast.
yeah,
And like this is what I've struggled with as a personal brand. It's like I do so many things now and have kind of evolved and changed and taught a lot of different stuff. I'm like, how do I best position this? Um, and it also just depends on like the market too that you want to go after, right? Like, are there the people there? Sahil Bloom had this article, or someone wrote an article about him, and he was saying like how if he only talked about finance, his audience would have probably capped out around 100K, but then he started venturing into other, maybe you linked about it, I don't remember, but he
mm,
started venturing into other topics, and like that's what allowed him, one of the things that allowed him to blow up.
yeah.
And because he wanted to go more mass market. So it really just depends on, again, like it's all just context. Everything's context online.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I found with the mass market thing, so I was kind of gravitating towards that, but I think that was more just letting my monkey mind follow the metrics. And that reach versus relevance thing, I've been pulling back hard because I just think that it's almost impossible to win the reach game now on social media. And it's like at what cost? It's like a poetic victory, right? You're obviously quite specific as well, but like, what are you doing to grow your list then? Are you growing your list? Because one thing, I'm going all over the place here. The reason I like sending a weekly newsletter is because in 5 years I want to be writing books, and I figured if I
Mhm.
send a daily newsletter, I'm going to completely screw my list growth. So, what are you doing for growth, and like, what do you think about that?
For the email copywriter site, I'm doing absolutely nothing. It's just all SEO, word of mouth, people forwarding my emails if they're
Cool.
good, um, podcasts. Like I still have people are like, oh, or like I had a YouTube channel too that I haven't posted anything on like 2 years, so I still get traffic from that. but
Yeah.
it's a lot of like copywriter traffic. I'm like huge in Vietnam. Like you might not know this about me, but I'm like a fucking celebrity in the email copywriting world in Vietnam.
I
Like
did
I
not know that,
get,
but it's so random.
it's the weirdest thing. Like I'll get like 20 college kids from Vietnam signing up for my list every single day. And it's been
And they
this
got
way for,
t-shirts of you and stuff.
they might. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, it's like, because I check like the locations and it's like every day, it's like 20 new subscribers, like 18 from Vietnam. And I'm like, holy fuck. Because there's a few like big influencers, I guess, over
Yeah,
there who like mention
yeah,
like this is the guy you want to learn from,
yeah.
which is cool. I'm flattered, but like it's very funny. It's like it's just see like just this cascade of Vietnamese names. So like some again, I'd say like that's not something I control. It's like word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
But or it's just like friends, people go through my course and they tell one of their friends about it and they're like, who is this guy, so with the advertising thing, I'm doing a lot of just like social media on X, and then I'm also running X ads. That's the only place I'm really running ads, just because I like that platform the best, and Meta is kind of stupid.
You think X adds the arbitrage at the moment?
I think so. It just like it takes a little bit of work. Like with any when you're going to spend money on paid traffic, it's a big boy move. It's not like you could start small, but like you got to have a dialed in offer. You have to test. You have to be willing to burn some money, and you have to just know metrics and be objective about data. And those are like hard things to do, especially if you're newer.
Yeah.
I think the arbitrage is there just because it has to be there for the platform. And it's like I meet with the XAD team. I met with them twice last week. I have a call today with my ad rep. So I'm staying up to date on like everything that's going on. Like the
Nice.
conversion pixel stuff is getting better, like literally on a week by week basis. And I just noticed that with my own campaigns for my clients, like it's actually getting better like week over week, which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's cheap. I mean, I have ads running. I had a campaign running, or excuse me, I have one running right now. I think this CPM is like 19 cents. It's just like
Wow.
absurd. You pay like $30 on Facebook for CPM. Not that CPM is the most important metric, but like the
Yeah.
reach that you can get is pretty crazy. And again, like I just think about relevance too. I'm like, I know my people are on X, the people that I want to connect with. There are probably other places too, but I definitely know they're on X because I
Mhm.
see them and I talk to them organically. So like if I could just amplify what I'm doing with X ads, then I could always be in their feeds and I could just wear
Yeah.
them down over time.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, when we work together with it, if it goes well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people in my audience that'll be interested. So we'll do like a little case report and stuff. We've got 50 minutes. So guys, if you have any questions, I'm going to fire one with Dave, which is actually kind of what I wanted to ask you as well. When you go into copywriting, what were the things you didn't pay enough attention to, and then had to learn the hard way?
Uh oh man, I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, I think part of it, like if you want to be a writer, I think it's hard to be just a pure writer. There's people who do it. Like Cole Schaefer is a guy.
Yeah.
He definitely has other skills. I'm not diminishing his other skills, but like he's a guy who like I like his newsletter. I think he's very sharp. I think his stuff's freaking great. He's just
Yeah.
insanely talented. Um, there's guys out like a David Deutsch, right, who can get away with just being a pure writer. But even then, like they still understand how it all fits together. Like if I could go back in time, I would have learned Facebook ads, so I could have been
Mhm.
part of that run up when you can get clicks for a penny. I would have absolutely, like looking back, I would have done that. I would have
Pumps
incorporated
the
that in my
truck. Yeah.
services,
As
and
much
then I would
money.
have bought. Then I would have bought Bitcoin with that, and then I would have been. And there, I wouldn't be on this webinar. I'd be in Lake Como in a villa right now. But we can't go back in time, right? So I think part of it is like Scott Adams talks about the concept of having a talent stack, right? And
Yeah.
like I've grown my talent stack. Like at first it was, just copywriting, then it was email copywriting. And then I got into, the X ads now and just, doing fractional CMO stuff.
Mhm.
Direct mail, SMS. And I just started adding things to my talent stack because I think if you really want to be dangerous and really be good and work at the highest level, like you need to understand how all of it works together.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I hate, the meme I hate is when people say you don't need to use this degree to make money online. I've been reading 3 hours a day for like 3 years now. And when that's the only reason I feel like I've got a nice advantage is because you're not intimidated by any concepts anymore. You started the call by saying successful entrepreneur means making a lot of money with not much time. How much time are you putting in? Because I want to start writing books, and I'm like, dude, I'm just swamped under with other stuff. So that's why I was doing the systemizing and the hiring and stuff. Like right now, how's your stuff running? How's movie talking?
Um, if I write an email in the morning, it takes anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes, usually like about 10 or 20. So like sometimes like at 8 a.m. I'll go on, I'll knock out my email, I'm like still in my pajamas, do that, get dressed, get my kids or get my oldest ready for school. Sometimes I'll go to drop them off, sometimes not. Sometimes I'll go to the gym. Usually I'm back in the chair by 10:30 or 11. I'll probably work for like an hour. Then my son comes home because he only does half days. I'll eat lunch. I'll usually have it depends. Like sometimes I'll have a solid like 2 hour block of work. Although if my youngest decides not to take a nap, which is becoming more and more common nowadays, I will have maybe an hour and a half in the afternoon. I'll usually pop back online at night for like an hour. So I would say all in all, it's anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. 6 hours is a long day. 6 hours is a lot of work for me to given day.
Yeah.
Um,
Sick.
and
But
what I've
obviously
been doing.
it was the big shifts to get there, right? Like didn't
Oh
happen.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, part of it is big shifts. Part of it is also like you don't. It doesn't take years to get to that. Part of it is like you are spending so much time on bullshit in your business that does not make you money. And
Easy.
I've repeatedly learned this lesson, and it's like you just keep burning your hand on the stove. I just got to the point where I said I don't want to get in fucking Zoom calls. I'm like, this one's okay. Like I'm not. This is fine. Like, but you know what I mean? Like this is like I like doing stuff like this.
This fucking Kira Drew guy, man,
This
wasting my
asshole.
time.
Yeah, but I just got to the point, and I'm writing my next newsletter, my next print newsletter about this, how like the asynchronous lifestyle. Like I got to the point where I was like, there's weeks when like I have this schedule, like my kids are young, they're at home, right? And I I want to spend time with my wife. I want to be able to work out at the gym, get work done. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I have one call I had to take Monday afternoon, then I had 3 calls on Tuesday, then I had 4 on Wednesday, then I have 5 on Thursday, and then hopefully I don't have any on Friday. And I'm like, what did I fucking get done this week? I'm like,
Yeah.
nothing. I didn't really get anything done because I don't have any white space in my calendar to actually sit down and create. And I was like, when do I get paid? Do I get paid when I'm on a Zoom call? No, I don't get paid. I get paid when I project, right?
Yeah.
Or when I launch a product or when I write an email that sells something.
Yeah.
And like those are the 3 ways I get paid, unless someone randomly hires me for a consulting call, which happens every now and again, but not often enough to. So whatever. Even like my coaching, I moved all async. It's like you need me, send me a voice memo, and I send you one back, right? I do phone calls now with people. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Same. New
hey,
transition.
give me a call, and they're like, when? I'm like, right now. Like, I'm
Like going back
going
in
out for a
time, huh?
walk. Yeah, like I'm going to the gym. Like, let's talk right now. Like, no, I don't want to fucking schedule a call. I do not.
Yeah.
Don't send me a link. Don't send me a Calendly.
Yeah.
Don't send me a Zoom. Let's just talk right now, or send me an email, or send me a Loom. Just do anything to not be on the call, because what happens is like there's this meme I think I retweeted the other day. This guy, he was like, he's like, why shit got done in the 80s? Because people picked up the phone and had phone calls, and they got it done in 5 minutes because everyone lives their life in 30-minute Zoom blocks. And that's how you live your life. And I'm like, this is fucking nuts. I don't need to do this. Why do I need to do this? Is it possible to make money without being, is it possible? Is it possible to make money without being on Zoom for 10 Zoom calls a week? Is it possible? Yes, it
Yeah. So
is.
the why not? The why not thing. Yeah. Yeah.
There's people who like don't even use email.
Yeah.
There's some people like Naval Ravikant. Does he check his email? You know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe that's an extreme case, but I was like, is it possible to do it differently? I think so.
I mean, it's a good thought experiment, because I mean, the only reason I went, so my first 6 figures was fucking nuts. Like it was just hustling and saying yes to everything. Similar situation. I had insomnia because I was running a coaching program with like 5 other things, and I was just boom, 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 boom. And then I got rid of everything, and then I made 500K in a year, and it was like, oh wait, space. And it's all just a decision between money now or leverage for later, right? And it's like the internet is just a pure leverage play. And I do think, yes, people need to work with people early on because you need the skill set, but like you can get very sucked into selling your time and wondering why the hell you're capping out. And there's just so much opportunity if you can just learn to write well and build product or build
Yeah.
something at scale.
Like in the early days of my agency, like half my week would be like either talking with clients on the phone, trying to close a deal, or putting together a proposal. And eventually I had to systematize all this. I said, it's one price, $600 an email.
Yeah.
And so I would just be like, hey, yeah, we could hop on a call, but it's $600 an email. Before we hop on the call, are you okay with that pricing? And they say, yeah, okay, cool. We can have our call now. And if they said, no, that's too much. Okay. Then I save myself a call. And now what I do, what I started doing was I started moving half-an-hour calls down to 15-minute calls. And now I just find creative ways to say no. So like when my second son was born, I was actually closing deals with this, and then I kind of got away from it. Now I'm going back to it because I was like, I don't know why I got away from it, but I was like, hey, I'm actually not taking calls right now. Why don't we have a discussion via email? And if they're serious, they will, and if they're not serious, they won't. And then it forces you to also create collateral around the offer, because like, why do you need to explain what the offer is on a phone call?
Mm-hmm.
Can you put that into a sales page? Could you put that into a pitch deck? Could you put that into a video, a VSL? Like, could you, like, is there any way that you could systematize what you're doing? Are you the
Yeah.
only person on earth who could actually close this deal? You're the best salesman in the world. No one else can do this. No one else. You're the only person, right? And you start to realize, like, oh, like now with my offers, now I just have them all priced out, and I'm like, okay, I know what this is going to cost. Here's how it works. There might be some objections. If so, let me know your questions. I'll answer them specifically, and then I add those to the collateral, and that's what I do.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have written on my whiteboard right here, time not money, because I'm from north of England, working class, right? Like to me, it's always been about like that scarcity lens of I have to do everything. No one else can do what I do, and don't spend any money. And it's like that's internal wiring shit, right? And it's like you got to spend money to make money, and at least the bare bone basics, you have to hire someone,
Mhm.
or else like you don't win back your time. You just end up with a higher risk job, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, like there's two paths. Like one is hiring, and I think that in certain contexts it definitely makes sense. The other path is like just breaking the paradigm of the business wide open, and
Mhm.
just it's like that. You ever see the movie Apollo 13?
Of course.
And they're like ripping stuff out of the rocket. They're like, nope, needs to be lighter, needs to be lighter. And like, we don't need this. What is this fucking tube? Here, out of here. Oh, and they're just
Yeah,
ripping
yeah,
shit out
yeah.
of the rocket. That's what I started doing with my business. And I said, don't need this software, don't need this. What happens if I cancel Zoom? What happens? Are the walls going to fall down? Cancel.
Mhm.
Boom. You're out. You're out. Cut the software. Like I let go of most of my team or reduced them because I was like, they were like, the business has changed. And even like with my new copywriting offering that I have, it's like $49.95 a month. It's async. There's no project management. It's a Kanban board. The client uploads tasks. They tell me what they need. They give me context. If I have questions, I ask. Then we go and write it. We post it. It's either approved or they need edits. We do the edits. They approve it. They tell us the next thing to work on. I said, what if we had an agency with no project managers, with no account managers, with no account executives, no sales reps, right? Like, so
Mhm.
there's always a way to turn the business on its head and say, do we need any of this shit? Because my old agency, like version 1.0, it functioned well. And like I was able to replace myself almost completely from it. But I got to the point where I was like, do I need like 5 people to run a one client project? Or can we do this with one person? Can we lean out the pod? Can we lean out the OpEx? Can we lean
Yeah.
everything out? And you start to realize, like, if you get creative, yeah, you can do that. Like Dean Jackson is a good guy to learn from. He'll just be like, "Oh, I'm doing a workshop this month in Dallas, Texas. It's $5,000. Would you like to join us? Here's what we're gonna do." And then you get there because he came in. He did, Dean Jackson, right, from I Love Marketing.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember Dean Jackson was the person that made me realize that it's like the first buyer is like 90 days in,
Yeah,
or like most buyers or something, and that made me realize like it's just fucking persistence. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
he did when I was in Kevin Rogers' mastermind. We were down in Florida one day, and he invited Dean to come down and like hired Dean for like a one instead of his 3-day workshop, it was like a 1-day thing. And like Dean just he walks in, right, says hello to everyone. He sits down at the table. He goes, "All right, who'd like to start?" Like no slides, no
Nice.
worksheets. He's just like, "All
Sick.
right, you first. Let's talk." And that's what he and you sit there for 8 hours and you just talk. And by the end of it, you're like, "This my business is transformed." So like he was one of the dudes who like really started to put me on this path of like, does it have to look like this? Like that
Mhm.
dude will do 12 people, 5K a pop, 60,000 in a weekend workshop, and he does them anywhere like, and he just shows up, right? So like, there's always ways to like just because people do this, and oh, I have 5 account executives, cool. I don't have any, and I will never.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's always a way to twist it and turn it and break the paradigm.
Do you intentionally engineer this? Because I'm quite conscious of inertia, as in like I keep slipping back into old plans. I'm like, oh my God, you need to be doing more social media content. It's like, no, man, like there's a whole world out there. So are you kind of forcing yourself to do this? Because as an example, I have the MCM, which you just left. So I'm gonna hunt you down soon. And but actually, unfortunately, I lost a staff member, and so I stripped away like half the processes, and retention went up. And I
Mhm.
was like, well, there you go. Like, stop fucking around. So I don't know, like, do you engineer this on purpose now? Like 3-month
I,
review or anything?
I think you have to, because you get to a point where like my time has just been so compressed, right? Like, my one son is in
Yeah, it's okay.
half day
Have kids.
school.
That
Yeah, I
solves
mean,
all
like
problems.
And then
Yeah.
like there was a lot of times I'm not sleeping, and I was like, well, do I do work or go to the gym? And like I want to go to the gym. Like you just get the point. Like I have other businesses I want to start, I have other partnerships I want to do. So I'm like, I need to compress this thing in. I need to shove it into this box. It needs to fit in this box. So we need to chop away at it until it fits in the box, right? And you're allowed to do that. And like people don't think you're allowed to do whatever the hell you want. Like you can build the business any way you want. And like it takes a while to realize that. So it's been very intentional, because I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be on fucking Zoom calls anymore. Like I
Mhm.
love talking to people and I love the people that I talk with, but I just don't want to be on fucking Zoom. I don't want to do it. And I just get so fed up. So like that was one thing to go.
Yeah.
And even like Slack's gonna go next. I mean, I'm not at that point yet, but I'm like, how do I get rid of Slack? And then once I do that, maybe I can get rid of email too. And maybe I'll
Yeah.
be like Dan Kenny with a fax machine. I don't know. We'll see. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll go that far. But like it's like, you tasks expand, businesses expand. It's
Yeah.
like foam; it'll just keep growing and growing. You know what I mean? Like you need to
Yeah.
corral it and say, what do we need to make this business work? And like, what happens if we turn this button off, or turn that button off? Well, and just stress test everything in the business, and that's how
Mhm.
you know whether you need it or not.
Yeah, that's cool actually. I might just sit down and have a little think through because it's funny you say about Slack. I just installed it because with the hiring stuff, I was like, what the fuck am I doing, man? Why am WhatsApp works? Just delete, man. Don't make this complicated. Like, don't make the same mistake but in a different pattern over and over and over. Um, we got a question from Barbara. When is your next workshop in NJ, which I presume is New Jersey? I don't know.
New Jersey, yeah. I want to do an in-person workshop. I got to think about, you know, I
Just
want to
come to
do one.
England, mate.
I know. I will get there one day. I got a shit ton of travel miles that I don't use. So one day I will go there. But yeah, no, I want to do a live event of some sorts. I just need to figure out like where it fits in, and then there's the whole like, do you want it to be a high-end mastermind? Do you want it to be more people? Do you want it to be for a consulting thing? Do you want to have it recorded and sell? Like, I don't know what I want to do with it yet or what the objective is, but like once I do, what I really would love to do is like a cigar night, but I don't know of any cigar bars by me, so that is a bit of an impediment to me doing a cigar night. I have to first find the cigar bar and then
Build
maybe
the bar,
have.
mate. Build the bar.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I wish, but if I like, I'd love to do that like a 2 hour, 3 hour, like just meetup kind of thing, like for people who are local. I want to start getting more involved with like the local business scene, but I don't know. I'm like I said, I don't have a ton of time to work, so like that's been so far down the list, but maybe eventually.
Yeah. Well, I think a live event would be sick with you, man. I could imagine that being quite charismatic and stuff. And I got to the time here, so I'm just gonna wrap up. If anyone has any final questions, just let us know. But otherwise, Chris, mate, again, I just want to say, Email Copywriting Academy. So all my friends are social media entrepreneurs, and I have watched everyone freak out, and I have just sort of sat back with a little bit of smugness and just been like, you know what, this is cool because I did the list early. We've got 32,000 subscribers. There are automations going out my yin yang. Um, it's been probably the most pivotal course. And so like I tell everyone, like, I don't care if you're going to be an email copywriter or if you're going to be a personal brand selling knowledge. ECA, just it was very like paradigm shifting for me. So thank you for that, man. I would highly recommend everyone to check it out. I would usually have a link, but I've been in charge of admin, and so I don't have a link in the short one. So I'll send one out tomorrow. But if you guys are thinking about learning a skill, Email Copywriting Academy has been awesome. So thank you for that, mate, and thank you for coming on for the call. It means a lot to like chat to the guy that I've been studying for so long. So
Yeah, well, thank you for organizing this, and guys, thanks for listening to me. And I'm just a big Kieran Drew fan. It's like I just remember seeing his name, like, because I just have a semi photographic memory, so like I remember just about every person he's bought for me, and like when I got back on Twitter, I was like, holy shit, this guy's killing it. I was like, man, who is this guy? We might have talked like once or twice before, and then he
yeah,
just blown up. So, but it's a testament to your stuff. It's great. So, and I read Kieran's stuff. Like he's one of the few people I read. So. You've
appreciate it,
all
mate.
chosen a very good mentor to learn from, and yeah, thanks so much for
I
having me,
twisted
guys.
their arm.
Appreciate it.
But yeah,
Yeah,
cheers, man. And like I said, guys, me and Chris are going to mess around with some Twitter ads together. So I'll write up a report and the emails and stuff. So look out for that in probably a couple months or so. And please subscribe to Chris's emails if you haven't. Please study them if you haven't. What you'll find is that his welcome email is you're going to find out where my welcome email came from. So and I think yours is kind of like the CD baby. It's like the top of the pyramid, right? But like I get so many compliments on that welcome email, and I'm
it's
like,
just
it's not me,
people love it.
man. It's
works
just
so
energy,
well.
man. Like opening up with energy, like it goes so far with writing. And people just don't appreciate that. So I know I've got like a little email course coming at one point, and I'll just have to. There'll be a big homage to you in there, mate, for because that I'm going to ruin everyone's welcome emails, unfortunately. But
Yeah, no, that sounds good, man.
cool, man. Well, thank you for your time, mate, and cheers everyone for listening. I'll send out a recording. Hope you all loved it, and I think we're seeing each other next week for John Benjakovic. So another email whiz. Nice guy too. And otherwise, really appreciate it. I'll see you later.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Chris, mate.
Thanks.
See you in a bit, dude. See you later.
Bye.